We are the tribe from the north, we're brave and we're bold. Defeating our rivals never gets old. Making our way to the Big Sky Conference. Watch out, 'cause here comes the silver and gold. Whoa, whoa. This is Tubbs at the Club for the Vandals of Idaho.
Welcome back, Tribe from the North, Brave and Bold, to the unofficial podcast of your Idaho Vandals and the Vandal affiliate on the Big Sky Podcast Network. I'm your host, Chris Hammond, and joining me today is just the best of all time, Alex Boatman. How are you, Alex?
I'm all right. I think this is too bad Brian's not here, Chris. This is the obligatory Mountaineer update.
I know. He missed it last week, too, because you were gone last week.
Yeah, I mean, we were on a bye last week, so there's nothing to update on. But the Vandals were in their butts kicked. The Mountaineers kicked off at the same time. Chris, we got a road win. We're 3-4. Things are looking up. We got Iowa State, then Oklahoma State back-to-back weeks at home. Basketball tips off Friday night versus Akron. So, it's a great time to be a Mountaineer. What can I say?
It is. And this brings me into something. We'll get right into Around the Bar. I guess one thing we got to cover. I lost another Tubbs Derby this weekend as Dallas Hammers beat my Tottenham Hotspurs. The OG Ted Lasso Club. For those of you that know, you know. If you don't, well, I mean, you don't. But, when Brian and Dallas are on here, right, we all get to control the flow of the show. They talk about things that you and I don't like. We get to talk about some things that they don't like. FBS football right now. How great is it that you just mentioned you guys are 3-4? Which means you still have something to play for. Isn't that a wonderful thing in the sport of football?
It's true. And we still have to play Kansas. So, who knows? That could be a blessing or a curse. Who knows after this last weekend? But FBS football, what a wild time. What a wild time in our old conference, the Sun Belt.
Yeah.
Adding so as of official today, Southern Miss has moved to the Sun Belt. On their way following them up is going to be Old Dominion and Marshall, both from Conference USA as well. And then the big one for you FCS folks, for us, James Madison is leaving the ranks of the FCS. And if you look at the FCS show a couple weeks ago when Chris and I were on, this should not be a shock to you. We called this a long time ago that James Madison was probably going to be the team to move up. So, but now, Chris, there's some reports from Matt Brown from Extra Points, pretty reliable, like probably the most reliable in the know college football reporter when it comes to this kind of stuff. I subscribe to his page. Anyone else should too, because this guy is phenomenal. Other FCS teams might be on the move too. Conference USA is now a dead conference walking. Idaho has lived this multiple times. The Big West, the WAC, then getting kicked out of the Sun Belt. Right. So the Conference USA is down to 5 teams: UTEP, La Tech, Western Kentucky, Middle Tennessee State, and FIU. Hell of a league. They are now courting the likes of New Mexico State. Other FCS, and then FCS teams mentioned are Sam Houston, for Stephen F. Austin, Abilene Christian, and possibly now Missouri State. Uncle Bobby Petrino's name being thrown around as a team that could be moving up here.
I remember when we were all covering the WAC and their expansion, I think we might have looked at Missouri State. If not, if you've never seen Missouri State's like stadium and stuff, easily could go FBS. You're talking about a state that has St. Louis in it. Like, it has the population to probably support 2 FBS teams. I'm not against it. It's just, I don't know. Like, we'll cover NAU at some point. I promised everybody that's here to like dying for some lumberjack coverage. But yeah,
Everyone
just hit me today when I saw we're 2-5, and I was like, back in the good old days, you're like, okay, we're allowed 2 more losses for our season to truly be over. But, in the current predicament we're in, being FCS and Big Sky, our season is over. And that's like the gripe I think you and I definitely have with like the FCS. Well, at least you're playing for something. And it's like, okay, yeah, to FCS level, like, yes, there's a national title. But to us, it's like, okay. But like, I would be just excited to play in the Humanitarian Bowl right now as I would to make the playoffs. Like, I'd like to at least be playing for something. I know people make a joke like, oh, you get to go 500 and play for something. Yeah, it makes it a lot easier to go to games when there's still something on the line multiple weeks into the season. Like, I think our season was over even before the Montana loss. Like,
right.
I don't know.
I mean, if you're not 8-3 or a really good 7-4, like Weber State has an outside chance of the playoff, not an outside chance,
but they'll make it. If they win
right,
out.
exactly. So I mean, you got to be 7-4, 8-3, and you know the argument is always, well, that's rewarding the good teams for getting in. It's just a different mindset, right? Bowl season is one of my favorite seasons of the year. You know, you wake up on a random Tuesday in December and there's a game on it like 9 a.m. on the West Coast. You're like, this is fantastic. Yeah, it is, you know, interesting. You know, when you're in Idaho spot, your season's dead. You're in West Virginia spot, you know, you're fighting to go 6-6 and make it to a bowl game. And also, Chris, I know you're showing Missouri State there on the screen. They have a nice basketball arena too, if I recall. They actually have a I think a 10,000 seat basketball arena. It's like pretty nice. So I mean, yeah, I you know, not unbelievable to think that these guys could be moving up there in Missouri. You know, Missouri, you call Missouri the South, or whatever you want to call it. That's not that far of the footprint. So I thought that was an interesting name. So I mean, we're seeing movement. I guess we should address the elephant in the room. You know, if Idaho is FBS, would we be getting invited to Conference USA? That's probably what people are going to be wanting. Like, going to be like, why didn't you guys talk about it if we didn't? And people who are FCS be like, leave it alone, right? Yeah. Here's the thing. I think I said this in our chat, right? New Mexico State being added makes sense. They have a great basketball program. They have a great basketball program. They also are not that far outside their current footprint from El Paso, right? Travel partner kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Who knows if we would have been a candidate? Who the hell knows? I think if we might have been, because they're going to have to look at every option available. I think if we start hearing like UMass's name thrown around as a candidate for Conference USA football only, then that's when you should be upset, Vandal fans. Because I think at that point, then you would think, okay, if they would add UMass, right, then maybe they would add Idaho. So until that moment, unless they really are hammering down the whole FCS, we need full members, which they do need full members, Chris. They're at 5. They need at least 8 full members here, 6 or 8. Not quite sure how it works in FBS. Can't remember the number. So they just don't need football members. They need full members. So until we start hearing like UMass's name thrown around, I would not panic, Idaho fans, that we are missing out on something. But as soon as that moment happens, feel free to panic. Feel free to burn the pitchforks and torches. And thank God Chuck Stamen entered the transfer portal.
Well, what's more likely, you think? Conference USA to die or the WAC to poach what's left and move back up? I actually think the latter. Because you could get
the WAC is not
you already have New Mexico State. You're probably going to get Utah.
I think
Mountain West doesn't seem. So there's your 2.
I think the WAC,
Sam Houston and Stephen F. Austin could make the jump now. Abilene Christian not so much, and Lamar not so much. But you know, there's your Texas 4 plus those 2. You're at 6. Then you try to persuade a North Dakota State, a South Dakota State. Like that kind of makes sense to them. Try to get Montana State. Idaho's still probably on the outside looking in because like we just appear to have no desire to push for this. We don't seem to be in a position to be attractive to this. So I guess wait for the next round of alignment in like 2032. But yeah.
I don't know. I think Conference USA breaking. I think neither's likely to happen. To be honest, I think these 5 schools in Conference USA need each other. They have no other home right now. I don't think the WAC's in a spot to move up yet. This is outside their kind of plan. This is too soon. I think their plan was we're going to see about a 2025 to 2030 timeline for if they would move up together. Because there's no way in hell that unless they just ditch Southern Utah and ditch Dixie State or whatever they are now, Utah Tech or whatever they're about to become. Unless they ditch that whole plan, right? They're not in a position to move up yet. And I don't think they would. I think it's more likely Conference to pick these schools off. I think neither is likely to happen unless you just see
but then like a UTEP
go, hey.
Like, isn't it kind of the WAC?
Well, here's what
USA right now? Because like if Conference USA picks Sam Houston and Stephen F. Austin, Well, then the WAC's like, well, we just lost our biggest bargaining chips. Now we're like worse than the Southland because at least Southland has McNeese and Seagull.
Right. And the WAC's then the WAC's screwed. And I mean, yeah, then it's going to trickle down to FCS. We might see more FCS movement. Teams might go back to the Southland or they would leave. Southern Utah could be in a world of hurt all of a sudden. I think it's more likely to see the Conference USA has all the bargaining power right now over the WAC, just because whose Conference USA is dead weight, right? The thing they have over everyone is they're an FBS conference versus the WAC. It just isn't strong enough to hold out. Like when the WAC died, when we were an FBS team, right? When the WAC died, it's because we were trying to core a team like Montana and Montana State. They just didn't have desire to move up. I don't think you can say the same thing's true about the teams in Texas, right? The Sam Houstons, the Abilene Christians, the Tarleton States. I don't think you can say that's true. They have the desire to move up. They will act in their best interest and do that if they see fit. I think it's more likely if the Conference USA dies, you could see a UTEP go, hey, I would rather go independent in football and put my other sports in the WAC and then kind of put on a waiting plan, right? And let's see where the WAC goes. I think that is more likely to happen, Chris. Like a La Tech and a UTEP to go, hey, let's go play Indian football, park our other sports in the WAC, right? The WAC's a coup for the WAC, and then they say, okay, our timeline is blank, right? That is more likely to me to happen, Chris, than just a flat out WAC's like, all right, let's move up. It's going to be, hey, like let's figure this out. But in the meantime, let's put a few teams in independence. Right, if they grab La Tech and UTEP, if I'm the WAC, that's what I do. Go after La Tech and UTEP. Say, hey guys, go play independence for a couple years. You know, we'll help you negotiate a TV deal. We'll help you do all of this. We'll be partner schools, right? That's to me, that's the WAC's best strategy in this situation. And who knows? Maybe those conversations would happen. But if I was an administrator in the WAC, that's how I'd play this out. I'd be like, let's go grab UTEP and La Tech. Let's go park them in independence for a few years. And let's get our other schools like Tarleton and Sam Houston and Abilene Christian and Stephen F. Austin ready to move up. Because when that happens, you're in a nice little football league, Chris. That's a nice little 7-18 league in a geographic centered area of the country.
Yep.
So anyway, I can really get into semantics of it. But yes, people, group of 5 people, this is not over yet. Pay attention to this. We could see more shakeup in the Big Sky. Who knows? It's really tough. Like I see Patrick, what about Weber State? I'm a proponent of Weber State moving up at some point in the sense that Weber State has to move up with teams like Idaho and the Montanas. Like if I was to rank out, how this would go, right? Like what's going to happen. Like the Idaho, Weber State, Montanas are in the best position. Full Big Sky members, when I use the keyword, they're full to move up, right? The Cal Poly and UC Davis are also pretty positioned well to move up as well, but they are only associate members. But I'm going to say those 4 are your best 4 to move up. Weber State has shown that they could do it. They have the facilities, geographic area to do so. And then Martin brought up Eastern Kentucky. I don't even want to get into the ASUN because this is also another fledgling conference that could just implode before it even gets going. Because if you're Conference USA, why not go grab Kennesaw State?
Yeah.
Why not go grab Jacksonville State? Right? Yeah. Why not grab Central Arkansas? So again, this isn't over, folks. Like this is going to get worse before it gets better. And even then, we're going to see more FCS movement in the CAA, who's looking to add Monmouth and then 2 other Olympic sport members as well to balance out at 12 teams each. So yes,
well,
hold on to their seats. This is fun. And we're on the sidelines. So
while we're talking about the WAC, to make a transition, let's talk about the team that we share the Western Athletic Conference with. Northern Arizona. For those of you who don't know, both teams still have their swim and dive in the Western Athletic Conference. NAU 3-4 on the year, 2-2 in conference. Unlike Weber State, even if they win out, they're probably not making the playoffs. So congratulations, NAU. Welcome to the U officially don't matter because we're in the FCS Bowl. What do you got any initial kind of thoughts on NAU? What are you looking for out of them? What worries you? What does Idaho have to do to kind of get this game, hopefully a check in the win box for us to make the season somewhat relevant?
Yeah, NAU, ever since they changed quarterbacks from who was the old one? Now it's RJ Martinez, but God, who was the old one? I can't think of his name. I can picture Keandre Woodtee. Ever since they've changed Keandre Woodtee to RJ Martinez, they have been a much better team. RJ Martinez has been fantastic. They're 3-4. They just lost to Sac State. I think that loss to Northern Colorado is a fluke because that was pre-RJ Martinez. If they play RJ Martinez, they probably win that game. They're probably 4-3 with a 3-1 conference record. And you're going, wait a minute, is NAU like in position to make the playoff? Like what's happening here? Because they're about to play us, who we haven't shown much. Granted, I think we'll get more into why I think Idaho will win later. But they have shown they've been good at throwing the ball. Like RJ Martinez has been a good quarterback, probably actually one of the better quarterbacks in the Big Sky because we've not seen great quarterback play in the Big Sky this year. I'd put RJ Martinez Patrick, I think, and people think NAU still stinks, but they don't quite know what to do with NAU because, they're 2-2 in conference. They've beaten Idaho State and Southern Utah, which are bottom dwellers, but they've lost to Northern Colorado, which is a bottom dweller. They just lost to Sac State, who is actually on pace to go win the conference this year and be undefeated in conference play. Yeah. So I can't get a read on this NAU team yet, but RJ Martinez has been better.
It's super, super weird, right? Like they opened the year testing themselves 42-16 against Sam Houston State, reigning national champion. Okay, not a pretty score column, but once again, it's the reigning national champ. You're probably supposed to lose them. Now you just know you're not a national champion caliber team. Then you get smoked by South Dakota 34-7, which at the time looked bad. Now South Dakota strung together some pretty impressive wins, beating Northern Iowa, I believe beating North Dakota or somebody else kind of big to a point where they were flirting in that top 20 range, 20 to 25 range last week or 2 weeks ago before losing this past weekend to South Dakota State or Missouri State, maybe somebody like that. Then Northern Arizona shocks the world and beats the worst team in the Pac-12, maybe the worst Power 5 team in the country this year in Arizona.
They are the worst Power 5 team in the country this year. Worse than Kansas.
Yeah, fact. There's your proof,
Kansas
right?
Kansas has been frisky.
Yeah. Kansas barely beat South Dakota by 6 points, 7 points? And then
Northern Arizona it was 3. It was 17-14. I remember that. They stormed the field.
Yeah, which means Kansas, translated properties of sports, would have won 28-7 against Northern Arizona when Northern Arizona beat Arizona 21-19. So, science. Northern Colorado, the team that, I don't know, a bunch of people in the Big Sky Podcast Network have been hating on Northern Colorado. I've always said I think they're the obvious best of the bottom 3, but people didn't agree with me most of the season. They beat Northern Colorado, or Northern Colorado beats NAU. So it apparently didn't count for anything. It was in overtime, but that's Arizona again. They were 1-3 at this point with only an FBS win, no wins to count. Then I guest host NAU and Big Sky Sports for Casey Everett against Idaho State. And I say, I just don't think you guys are going to be able to beat Idaho State. Idaho State ends up winning 48-17. Losing 48-17. NAU blows them out of the water. Idaho State goes on to beat UC Davis. Wild. Then Northern Arizona wins 59-35 against Southern Utah in a not really a close one, beating of their rival that they have a trophy for. And then they beat Sac State 44-0, lose to Sac State 44-0 last week. So they're literally like Katy Perry. They're hot, then they're cold. They're yes, then they're no. They beat Idaho State, who beat top 10 UC Davis. They beat FBS team, but then they lose to Northern Colorado. They get smoked by Sac State, but they beat Southern Utah. So they've handled kind of I don't know who NAU is. And you kind of brought up this too. You look at the stats, their quarterback play, they're basically as close to Idaho as you can get. Condre Woodtee plays in one game, completes 1 pass out of 5, -3 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Then they have this Kale Millen, plays in 4 games, 2 completions on 3 passes, 19 yards and a touchdown. RJ Martinez, the guy, we'll get to him in a second. Xander Werner, 7 games played, 1 passing attempt. So I think he's a wide receiver or something. Then Jeff Widener, who was kind of their guy last year, kind of late in the fall or spring season and early this fall. He has 3 touchdowns and 5 picks. Not great. Then you get this RJ Martinez in. He's got a 143.4 quarterback rating, 100 completions, 159 attempts, only 2 picks to 9 touchdowns. So over 2 touchdowns for every interception. It seems that they're improving. It seems that NAU has kind of got the ball rolling. And this is not going to be kind of that team that we saw early in the year getting their butts whipped by South Dakota, Sam Houston, losing to Northern Colorado. We're going to get more of the team that put up 59 against Southern Utah. It's probably going to be a little bit of a struggle for us, especially considering like they like to throw the ball, and we have kind of struggled to stop anybody that likes to throw the ball.
Yeah, I mean, our corner play has just not been fantastic again this year, like you and I've talked about, and I think has been mentioned on the other shows there. We are really short at corner already. Like that was already a trouble position group, and we were just been missing some key guys. Guys who have played in the spring for us aren't there. Like Alwan Parker's not back. You know, I think you've mentioned it multiple times. Like we've seen teams go after one corner multiple times, and in multiple games now. No reason to think that won't happen again. Yeah, this team is better than what we saw at the beginning of the year. That this team's better than when they beat Arizona in a weird way. I think.
Yes.
I think you know, if you look like at staggering ratings, which I'm trying to pull up real quick, I want to say, if I remember right, they're ahead of us. They're ranked. I want to say they are ranked. Oh man, where's it at?
They're probably
we're ranked 183 and they're ranked 178. So they're 5 spots ahead of us. Okay, kind of interesting. So pretty close. I'm actually say they're a pretty comparable team to us. They've had ups and they've had downs. They've looked good. They've looked bad. I don't know what we're going to get out of this game. It's a tough game to read. Chris, this is probably honestly the toughest game we'll have to read all year because it's two Jekyll and Hyde teams.
Yep, and probably
it's two Jekyll and Hyde teams.
And we knew this going in. Like the last 3 years we played them, they've been pretty evenly matched squads as well. Like this NAU has been our basically equal since being back in the Big Sky. Both teams have had tons of potential to be better than they are. NAU back when they still had Case Cookis. We're getting picked like number 4 in the conference and stuff. Then we haven't even touched on this. They probably have the best overall wide receiver group in the entire Big Sky. I know people are going to argue Eastern Washington, but like if you gave these receivers to Eastern, I tell you what, they're not dropping balls in the end zone. I'll just put it that way. These guys are absolute studs. It's like they have all this talent and a pretty decent defense to boot. Not like great.
Right.
They kind of let up a lot, but like teams should be better than it is. I think most NAU fans would say they expect this team to be better than it is. Much like most Idaho fans are like, how the F are we not at this level? Why are we closer to our floor than our ceiling? Like, how come we can't even be middle of the room? We just keep going ceiling level or floor level. That's kind of how NAU's been playing. Like when they hit, it's like when we played UC Davis, we were peeking towards our ceiling. Or first half against Portland State, we were flirting with the ceiling. NAU can do that and be really challenge a top team in the Big Sky. But then there's times like us where they just absolutely lay on the floor and are comfortable laying there. And you're like, what is this team? I just saw you execute at this super high level. And now you're acting like Southern Utah. So yeah, very Jekyll. Both teams,
right? The
most Jekyll and Hyde. I think we've seen it the most. I don't have the research in front of me. In our Big Sky power rankings, I know NAU at one point was ranked, I think, 12th or 11th. I know Idaho has been 12th or 11th a couple times. Idaho has been as high as, I think, 5th or 6th. And I think NAU's been as high as 5th or 6th. Like, these teams have probably moved the absolute most in our Big Sky podcast power rankings. They're two teams that are just incredibly hard to read. Honestly, with an absolute gutter ball of a slate of Big Sky games this week, this is probably Big Sky game of the week. This is the game that should be close, should have enough weirdness to it that these teams will make it interesting at least. If you're a neutral and you're not just looking, like your team's not playing, like if you're Idaho State or Montana State, they're on bye, or like your game's over or Montana's blowing out Southern Utah or Eastern's blowing out whoever they're playing, or maybe I think Eastern's on a bye, Idaho State's off a bye, but whoever, like this is the game you tune into. This game's going to be close. They're going to kind of exchange, I don't know, haymakers, finger slaps. I don't know quite what this matchup will be. This matchup can either be like how it was in 2018, where Mason Petrino just went balls to the wall and set all these flipping records. And you're just like, wow, like what, double overtime game, 62 to something, like huge game. Or this could be like a 21-20 affair. And we'll just be like, yikes, that was a waste of 3.5 hours.
Yeah. Or we could lose by 3 scores.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, we also have a very good problem.
Right?
Hey,
like,
if they play at a ceiling and we play at a floor, yeah, And I think that could go the other way too. There's a chance we
and vice versa.
NAU.
We could win by 3 scores.
I'm putting zero money on this game. I'm not even gonna look at the line for this game because there's no business. No one has any business putting money anywhere on here.
No, this is stinky. This is gross. Sagarin does make this a 5-point game for NAU. So and that probably we're going to see the line open, I would guess, because Vegas does tend to just literally follow. They know so little about these. They just use these power ranking systems like Sagarin and FPI and other things like that to set lines for these type of games. And then they just fall. The money falls where it wills, and that's how they move the line. Who the hell's betting on this game? So literally a $10,000 bet is like sharp money and will move the line a lot. So don't be surprised if you see NAU opens like a 5-point favorite, and then Idaho somehow closes like a 3-point favorite, or Idaho closes a 10-point dog. Who knows? No one really knows. Stay away from this game. I guess we've kind of talked about how crazy NAU is, Chris. Like, I guess we should maybe move on to the Idaho angle. We talked NAU, sprinkled in Idaho a little bit. And we kind of opened this up in the beginning of the show. You said a team like WVU has motivation for the rest of the year. We're trying to go to a bowl game. What gets Idaho out of bed in the morning? What gets Idaho to lift every day? What gets Idaho in the meeting room? What gets on the practice field tonight? How was their practice that just wrapped up? Low energy, high energy. What's getting them going for this game, Chris?
For this game?
What's their motivation?
I honestly
for this game and the rest of the year, because
I have to say
this is like the beginning of the rest of our year.
So you correct me when I'm wrong here. I think NAU is going to be a beaut to steal Jeff Choate, hashtag Choate Mana, maybe to Idaho. You heard it here on Tubs of the Club last week with Coulter Nuanez if we make a move. Not saying we will, not saying we won't. But if we were, apparently some media folk have heard there's rumblings. This game, I don't know how you get up. It's BYOE. It's NAU. Yeah. I guess you've had some good games with them. They beat us last year on our last game. So maybe it's like, for these guys that thought that was going to be the last game ever before the free eligibility, like, all right, we really want to take it to these guys. But, they're not an overly scrappy team. We've never had anything controversial with them. If anything, they have more of a reason to dislike us because of the 2018 overtime game. I don't know, this game, or 2009, it was 18, whatever year it was. I don't know. Next week, 19. Southern Utah, it's senior night, right? Obviously the seniors get up for that. So I think senior night you get up for, and then there's no more trophy games left. We lost the Eastern, we lost the Montana. You have Idaho State. I guess you get up for Idaho State. Because I don't know how you get up for Montana
That's
State.
a trophy game.
We'll talk about that. You get to go to but Bozeman, it's okay, you get to go to Bozeman. That's cool. And maybe how many of these players were actually on 18 when that field goal was called, or extra point was called no-go and whatever. Literally, I think the only games you care
2019,
about. 2019,
decent amount. All the guys who are now seniors.
Well, it was 18. It was the first year. Because 19 was we were at Montana. We haven't played in
So it was 2018. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess anyone that was a freshman or sophomore is still on the team.
Yeah, I mean, guys like Logan Floyd, guys like Connor Whitney,
so your
Charles Acano, Son, all your upperclassmen senior leadership, right? Guys, Trey Walker, that type of guy was on that team in 2018.
Yeah, but it's just I don't know, man.
I guess
what is Petrino saying to these guys to get them to care? Because you've been in this situation in 18. We had nothing to play for about this point in the season as well.
14.
What kept
15,
your guys'
17.
eye on the prize? Yeah.
2017, we go to Georgia State. Nothing to play for at that point. We're not getting into the bowl game. We go win that game, right? These are the type of games you take personally. These are the type of games that you find out what kind of man someone is, what kind of competitor they are, right? This game they should be extremely fired up for this game. This is a really big character game for our team. We can see what kind of type of team we are moving forward, even guys for next year. We still have guys in this team who have pro aspirations. We still have guys in this team who are still have years of eligibility left, right? This is when you go show out. If you can rebound from the type of 2 ass kickings you just had the last 2 weeks, and you come back in and really just take it to him. That should give Vandal fans hope. If this team rolls over and wants nothing to be there, there's ways to look into that, but it's not good. You don't want that. The reason you get up for this game, Chris, is just because you're a competitor. You play a contact sport that you work your ass off for all type of year, and you got nothing else to lose. What do they guys have to lose? What do they have to lose? Jack shit, right? Like nothing to lose besides their own respect on their own names, on their own. They used to have names on the back of the jersey, not anymore. But that's the type of thing. Like you play for that back in the name on the back of the jersey. You know what type of man you are moving forward in life. That's why you play this game, and that's why they care.
Get Grumpy Joe a win. He's 0-2 right now. Good for Joe.
Oh boy, we might not see Grumpy Joe again. I was so shocked we rolled him out again this weekend, but I mean, I guess it was a special game. You know, it was
I'm
Montana.
okay moving there permanent. I think it's a cool looking logo.
Yeah, I hate the I Vandals. I love the Vandal script. I love Vandal. Vandal script is just a classic. But either rotate a Grumpy Joe and a Vandal script. That's the way to do it, in my opinion.
Yeah. Or just do Joe once a year. I'd be okay with that. But we can't. I'm gonna
homecoming.
Be pissed if we rolled out Joe for 2 games that we got our butts kicked in, and then we don't see Joe again for another 25.
Well,
30
we'll
years.
we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with the next year, Chris.
Yeah, true. Might have something a little bit more cartoon friendly. All right, but let's talk a little bit game specific and then move on because I think we've touched it. We've heard Beaudry might be back. Gives a little bit of hope. Like, because let's be honest, since he has gone out, our offense has fluttered. Now, whether that's play calling, a lot of people want to throw it on Zach Borish. It's kind of hard for Zach Borish to do anything when they're stacking 9 and he's being told not to throw the ball, right? Like, and then we put in McCoy. And I will say, I've liked McCoy. I know the stats don't show it. I mean, he has stood in there and taken some serious freaking hits and still stood in there and delivered the ball. See that out of a true freshman who was only in high school like 6 months ago, or I guess 12. Yeah, 6 months ago. Like, I'm impressed by him. I would like to quit using it. We got 2 more games. So, like, I'd like to maybe see him against Southern Utah where he could actually maybe get a little bit of a footing going. So maybe you do today as well. But then I'd like to see him shelved. Like, I would hate for us you have to use him in 5 games and then not have that red shirt, you know, because we've proven. I know people are like, well, you'll just redshirt him next year. I'm like, yeah, we haven't played one quarterback since 2016, so we're gonna need all the quarterbacks in the room with as much eligibility as possible going forward. I know we get Austin Webb next year. We'll also get McLeod Croughton, and then we'll probably have somebody else as well that we're probably recruiting right now join the team. I get that, but like. I don't know, man. We struggled with quarterbacks. We're gonna keep it, but I do feel a little. We're not predictions yet, but how much more confident are you with Beaudry? And I would just like to see him. Like, I'd like to see Borish get packages, like more like jet sweep, wildcat run. But like, I'd like to see him in the game at running back, at wide receiver, less at quarterback. Other than a set few packages, I don't want to do a 2 plays Beaudry, 1 play Borish, 2 plays Borish, 1 play Beaudry. Freaking just put Beaudry in there and let's play one game with 1 starter, please. Can we?
Yeah.
Is that too much to ask for?
Yes, it is. I'm extremely more confident with Beaudry in. I think I said this in our chat. I'm not saying we would have beat Montana. I think our offense became stagnant and stale because they knew it was coming every time. I think Beaudry gives you a dimension that we don't have right now. He brings that veteran experience, right? Everyone's gonna go, well, he's not great. He's had a pretty good year. Like, honestly,
people that haven't watched the fall.
They got really soured on him, or they saw him make a couple questionable passes against UC Davis, right? Like, in situations
where you have to make a play, you can't.
Right,
you can't pull back when you're going for it on like 3rd and 13. Or 4th
we're talking, but overall, he's had a pretty good year. He's stretched the field well.
Top big half of the Big Sky.
Oh, I'm convinced that like Beaudry on Montana or Beaudry on Weber State, and they probably have 2 more wins in their pocket. They probably have beaten Montana State, probably beaten UC Davis. That's like he's not a world beater, but he's a good quarterback. Like, he's looked much better this year. He's hit those metrics that I talked about preseason on where I want to see him at, and he's looked good doing it.
There are 13 starters in the Big Sky. I would say he is probably sixth best.
I think we probably score at least 1 or 2 more touchdowns versus Montana if he's in at quarterback. And I probably also think they probably end up scoring 1 less just because of game script and how things go, right? Time of possession, things like that. So we're talking about a 28-21 game potential. Like that's like, I'm not saying like we would have beat Montana, but I don't think it's a 20-point loss at the end of the game. I think it's probably within a score or two, right? Like,
look at it.
That's just my opinion on him.
Stats, beautiful thing. If I asked you quarterback efficiency rating, where do you think Mike Beaudry ranks?
In the conference?
In the conference.
Like third.
Sixth.
Okay.
He's behind Eric Berrier, Matt McKay, Jake Dunaway, and RJ Martinez of Northern Arizona. Oh, sorry, and Davis Alexander. Yeah, I mean, you got to go all. No, none of our other guys are on here. Dylan McCaffrey, dude, 102. Average yards per game. He's 8th.
Yeah, but I mean, like those are games though where he hasn't played the whole time. Like, right? Like, does that include Big Sky games, or is that the whole season?
Every bit, the whole season. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like that includes like he played half a game
Indiana,
versus Simon Fraser. He played partially versus Oregon State.
So, but police completion percentage, 4th. He's behind Matt McKay, Chris Brown, surprisingly, and Eric Berrier. Like,
yeah,
Mike Beaudry's thrown 1 interception this entire year and just happened to be against UC Davis.
Right. And at the end of the game, when we're trying to go tie the game to go to overtime, right? Like I'm saying that you put Beaudry on Weber State, like they probably beat UC Davis and they probably beat Montana State. Like that's like those are games they just we're lacking at quarterback play, right? Like, am I crazy to say that?
Nope. I mean, you look to Eric Berrier, 1 takes a lot more shots, makes sense. Has 6 interceptions, right? Chris Brown, 3. Chris Brown has played in less games than Mike Beaudry has. Justin Miller, who was praised by many, has 9 interceptions this year. Dylan McCaffrey, 6. Davis Alexander, 7. Hunter Rodriguez, 5. Hunter Hayes, 7. And Beaudry has only played for Hunter Rodriguez, right? Who's supposed to be really good. They've only played 1 game difference. He has 7 touchdowns compared to Beaudry's 3. But once again, Beaudry's been splitting reps the whole year. Like, I don't know. His efficiency rating and his completion percentage shows that if he had just been our starter, we're completing passes at a 64.5 clip, and he's having an efficiency rating of 131, best for 6th in the conference. And that's what without being able to get into a groove because he gets taken out every 3rd or 4th play. I don't know. I really like our chances with Beaudry. I just hope he can stay healthy and we can ride out this year. He's got CFL potential. Flip, dude, with Beaudry, honestly, you want something to root for this season? There's a chance we win all 4 games remaining with Beaudry. Montana State is gonna be tough.
Yeah,
but they might slip up. Maybe we're the team. Probably not, but we could be.
Well,
we can beat Southern Utah, we can beat NAU. We could.
They could versus us because they have Brawl the Wild the week after, in which they're looking to potentially be an undefeated conference team. Oh no, wait, they have to play Eastern, don't they? I forget their schedule.
They play Eastern.
So
next week.
I mean, they're looking at a spot where they lose Eastern, right? But let's say they have a chance to go beat. They play Eastern, then they play us, right? Like Eastern, us, Montana. We're a real low spot for Montana State, and you know I'm a really big sucker for situational games, right? Like if we're healthy and Beaudry or CJ's quarterback at Montana State, and our guys are feeling a little good off of 2 wins potentially, yeah, we could actually catch Montana State, or we could get blown out. Like that's the caveat. You just never know. But Montana State playing Eastern, us, then Montana is a killer row. They're going to look at us as the easy game, especially at home before Brawl of the Wild, and they're going to think they're going to have it sweet, right? Yep. Like I mean, that's just how it goes. I like honestly, Eastern losing to Weber State, not that surprising to me. Like when I thought about it, okay, Chris, all right, but no, I mean, like on paper, right? Like I don't think about it. And you start thinking about like, well, wait, they just they beat Montana and they blew out Northern Colorado than us. Like everyone's saying they're the best team in the country. Like Weber State's looking bad. We got this game won, no problem. Shocker. Jay Hill's a good coach, and Weber State's a good
defense. DBU. So bro.
I mean, it's not that surprising, right? I think that's a type of is Eastern a better team than Weber State? Yes, but situations do come up where things like that happen. Like it's a situation. And so Beaudry back. If Like if Beaudry plays this game, I like our chances to win this game because I think, Idaho has still not lost to a team at home, Chris, that is not good, right? We've under Petrino on the Big Sky, we are 9-5 with 5 losses being against Montana twice, UC Davis, who almost won the Big Sky last year, Sac State, who was a seeded team, and Weber State, who won the Big Sky. So those are our 5. Those are our 5 losses.
3 home losses, 2 conference winners in the season in which they won the conference, and then 2 were Montana. Like we don't lose. So hell, we've beaten Eastern Washington twice. Like we played good at home.
And North Dakota in 2018, right? We've beaten teams at home.
Ranked?
Yeah, we've beaten teams at home that
wins at home.
We
That's
shouldn't.
Crazy.
Yeah, and so like history does repeat itself. We just play better at home, and it is the very typical Idaho thing to do to have a big win look amazing versus Portland State, follow up with a couple stinkers, and then come back in and play well again.
Yeah,
like that's just who we've been.
So let's tail the tape here real quick. Idaho has the number 7 scoring offense going up Northern Arizona's 9th scoring defense. We have Northern Arizona's 9th scoring offense going against Idaho's 11th scoring defense. Rush offense, Idaho is 3rd in the Big Sky for rush offense. And remember, we played 2 Power 5 FBS teams going up against NAU's 10th ranked rushing defense. NAU's where were they? 5th ranked rushing offense. He's surprisingly running the ball more than people think this year. Going up against Idaho's 6th best rushing defense. Then passing. Here's the scary one. We have Idaho's 11th ranked pass. It's crazy that there are 2 teams worse at passing than us. Idaho's 11th ranked passing offense going up against NAU's 11th ranked passing defense. So big day for Beaudry possible. But then you also have NAU, who's the 4th ranked passing offense going up against Idaho's 13th ranked passing defense. So with all that, tail the tape, Alex Boatman. I'm going to give us some time to make our picks. Dallas picked NAU 28-24. Brian picked NAU 35-31. So they're both putting the 4 point. You said Sagarin had it about 5.5.
4.5 to 5.
They both have NAU by 4. So they're playing the Vegas game right here. Call a 4.5 spread. I'm going to go 55-52 NAU.
So you're doing like the reverse of 2019. I'm going to say 35-34 Idaho.
Okay. We got one. Somebody had it. I appreciate you. I thought about it. I just think I'm
confident with Beaudry. I'm confident that Beaudry plays. I think. I'm not sure. I have not, like listeners, I haven't heard anything whatsoever. Like we talk about Idaho wins games like this at home, even when we're not good. Beaudry plays versus Montana and or Eastern. I think those games are a hell of a lot closer because like it wasn't great. So if that happens, if Beaudry's playing, I like our chances to win, Chris.
You're right. I flipped it. I was going to say I think Beaudry's rusty, and that accounts for a 3-point difference. We just don't lose to teams like NAU at home. So you're right. Let's switch it. 55-52 Idaho.
Right.
I think it's going to be a barn burner. All right. Last week Hughes River Expeditions. If you're looking for a great all-inclusive week-long vacation, don't look past your backyard. Venture into the largest protected wilderness in the continental United States, located right here in the great state of Idaho. Enjoy a multi-day trip down the Middle Fork of the Salmon, the main Salmon River of no return, Salmon River Canyons, or the Selway. You can even check out special trips like the one to see the Perseid meteor shower. Camp on pristine beaches, run amazing whitewater, hike scenic trails, spot wildlife, soaking beautiful natural hot springs, take in river history all along the river's edge. You also get a fish, some of the most remote stretches of river in the entire flipping country. You bring your clothes, let HRE handle the rest. Hughes River Expeditions has been vandal owned and operated since 1976, ready to take you on a vacation of a lifetime. What are you waiting for? Find out what it's like to grab a paddle, catch dinner, and ride the bowl all throughout the Gem State. Call them now at 800-262-1882 or check them out at hughesriver.com. I mean, I don't know. I feel like we do that, Reed. It doesn't get as much love as Montucky because it's kind of long-winded and everything, but that's a lot of cool shit you can do.
No, it really is. Like, I've done a raft trip before, and I want to do it again. So I know if I did, it's with one place only. It's HRE.
Yeah, and we do get a lot of Montana listeners. They're out of Lolo, so part of their operation's out of Lolo.
Mhm.
So if you're Grizz, like, dude, that's like what 10 miles south of you. It's like driving to Pullman. Anyways, around the big sky last week. Chris went 5-1, but my Weber pick, for those that don't know, I did waffle back to Eastern in our group chat later. So we're giving me 0.3 points for that because I picked Weber one of the 3 times I picked.
No, I think Brian gave it to you outright. I think
he did
Brian
give it to me outright, but I feel bad because I literally
no.
air flopped back to Eastern.
Yeah, but like we weren't going to count it. I mean, come on, like that's what is said here is what's done here.
That's true. You guys wouldn't have let me flop back if they lost and been like, oh, no, you got a point because you flopped back off the air. So that's a good point. I like it. All right. Anyways, I went 5-1 last week. Hooray me. It saved me because everybody else didn't mix up any picks and you guys all went 4-2. Helped me pull a little bit back more into the race. I'm now only 6 games back of Brian at 48.
What's the game that everyone missed?
You guys missed 2 games.
Yeah, what did you miss? Yeah.
And then who was a crazy upset last week? Well, I guess we all picked. Well, I picked Northern Colorado. Those 2 clowns picked Southern Utah. So that was probably their loss. Who did you miss?
I don't know who I picked.
Don't you love Brian always says this when we do live
producing. Live producing is fun. I don't know. Especially when it's just 2 of us. It makes it much more entertaining.
It does. Just a reminder, it's just 2 of us. Last week, let's see, Idaho State. None of us would have picked Idaho State over Montana State. Weber State, I picked that.
Did I pick Did I pick Southern Utah? I think I did.
You must have picked Southern Utah. Oh, yeah, I missed because I picked NAU to beat Sac State.
You hate Sac State so much.
That is what it was. I refused to pick Sac State.
You would have been one game behind. You would have been 1 game behind, right? Stop saying they're not good. Stop saying they're not good. They're good.
I would have got 6-0 last week.
You would have been 1 game behind Brian, and you just picked us.
5.
Oh, sorry. I'm looking at Dallas. I'm looking at Dallas.
You. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm definitely bringing up the rear real hard. Anyways, Bowman is 50-14. Brian is 54-10, and Dallas is 52-12. So we'll just read theirs after.
This is such a barn burner of a slate this week. How does Northern Colorado have 3 wins?
Because they're not as bad as everybody thinks they are. They're not good, but they are way better than Southern Utah and Cal Poly, and obviously Northern Arizona because they beat Northern Arizona.
You can't say they're way better than Southern Utah when they won by a touchdown.
I thought they won by more than a touchdown. Was it
17-9? 17-9.
That's just a weird flipping score. So
Utah kicked. It's a touchdown.
But at Southern Utah. So that's worth 3.5 points. You know that.
Yeah, Eccles Stadium. Eccles Coliseum is a tough place to go play. Let me tell you. Never been there, thank God.
That's Chris Stinger's down. Hammond. I love that. Thank you, Patrick. All
right, what do we got?
All right, let's pick Southern Utah, Montana. Montana.
Both Brian and Dallas are on Montana here. I'm going to also be on Montana.
Yeah, do you have the thing up? Or otherwise, I just want to hear. They're not very original pickers, which is why they are leading, obviously. But so this is just an all Montana. Weber State at Idaho State.
This is going to be it. Yeah, they're both.
Spooky.
Okay,
Halloween-y,
they're both on. They're both on Weber. Who's at quarterback for Idaho State?
I think it's still Hunter Hayes.
All right. Well, as long as it's Hunter Hayes. I mean, they looked frisky versus Montana State last week. They looked a little frisky on the road.
Yeah.
Let me check one thing here. Yeah, I'm still going to go Weber State, but this could get a little
letdown game after Eastern.
Could be a letdown sandwich spot because they only play Portland State next week. They have another game to look forward to. Maybe this is if anything, this could be a game that just blow Idaho State out because they finally kind of have it rolling a little bit. You know what I mean? Like they finally get a groove. But yeah, I'll still ride with the Wildcats there.
Okay, so
this is interesting. Sagarin only makes Weber State a 6.5 point favorite. It's not as much as you would think. Like that's trappy. That's that's a trappy line. That's a really trappy line.
Hey, Halloween. I got the Idaho State colors on. It's Halloween colors. It's in that spooky dome. Here's the difference, all right? Let me tell you this real quick. This is the protected rivalry. Like, we talk about, like, what founding members of the Big Sky Conference right here. So, like, you have your Easterns, your NAUs, your Cal Polys, Portland States. They have, a little bit of history, maybe like 20 games total. These guys have played each other 61 times. This is a big boy game with big boy history. But this favors in the Little Brown Stein type of matchup. Weber State is 46-15 in this matchup.
Mm-hmm.
They have won 7 in a row. They are 22-10 on the road in Pocatello. They've won 9 of the last 10. For how much I actually really, really, really want to do, and Idaho State pulls this game out. Weber State just has too much to play for. But, man, I'm telling you, this could easily be like a repeat of last spring's game of 20-15. Like, in Idaho State almost beat Eastern in the Dome last year. Like, Idaho State is a tough place to go to and win because it's a weird.
It's a crap hole. Trust me. Been there. Bad memories. It's not a great play. We've struggled there. Sac State struggled there this year. Eastern struggled there last year. Weber State struggled there last year. Like, teams go to die in Pocatello. Like, you walk in there thinking you're going to win. You don't know what time of day it is when you're in there. The locker rooms are crap. The facility's crap. I'm still going to pick Weber, but that 6.5 line that Sagarin makes it like that's a trap. That's a trappy line. I could see what you're saying, or I'll see Weber State. It's either going to be. I don't think Idaho State wins. I think Idaho State keeps it weirdly close, or they get killed. It's not going to be like they lose by like 10.
Yeah. Everybody's kind of on the same thing. This is kind of a letdown game. Possible for Weber. Take care of business, Jay.
Love situations. I do.
Right. Sac State at Northern Colorado on the short AstroTurf or field turf of Greeley, Colorado. Northern Colorado.
Did you say Northern Colorado, Chris?
You bet your bottom dollar I did.
Chris, do you just like to lose?
Oh, I'm just waiting for the one where I gotta go. Ah! Told you.
Who? To who?
Everybody.
Have you seen their schedule? Have you seen their schedule though, Chris?
Do you know how big I get a laugh when I predicted that Northern Colorado beats Sac State?
Like, they don't.
Thing is down.
Yeah, I was the only one here who picked Sac State over Montana. Like, I'm in tune with Sac State. I understand them as a team. They have a fantastic defense, Chris. A fantastic defense who might not let Northern Colorado score maybe more than a touchdown all game. So if that's the case, Northern Colorado's 2 of their 3 wins this year, they only scored 17 points in, Chris. Okay? Like, let that sink in.
Sinking in.
Think about that for a second.
Terrible offense.
Are they going to score more than 17 against an elite Big Sky defense?
Possibly.
Okay, probably not, but I just envision Sac State being able to get in the end zone at least a few times here. So Sac State is only an 11-point favorite on the road, according to Sagarin, but I'm still going with the Hornets. I would take them to cover too. Like, I think Northern Colorado is dog crap.
Steal line from a terrible Peyton Manning commercial. Epic comeback starts right here. I got to make up games. Northern Arizona at Idaho. We already picked that one. I don't even know why we put it on this section anymore. Cal Poly at Portland State. What a gutterball matchup.
That's a great matchup.
Cal Poly, though, I said last week they would play friskier than expected against UC Davis. Not as close as I thought, but a lot of people were like, oh, UC Davis isn't that good. I'm like, or Cal Poly is getting better, and it's a rivalry game. That said, this is not a rivalry game.
The Golden Horseshoe? Is that what they play for down there? The Golden Horseshoe?
Some kind of stupid horse. Mustangs, Aggies. But they're the horse Aggie instead of the bull Aggie or the cowboy Aggie or, NCA&T is the bulldog Aggies.
I don't get it.
How's a bulldog an Aggie? Are bulldogs renowned for their agricultural prowess as a dog breed?
I mean, think about it. What is
Canine
Texas A&M's what's A&M's mascot?
A Lassie. Oh, Aggie, and it's a Lassie.
Reveille.
Dog.
It's Reveille. Yeah, Reveille the dog. So, yeah, Portland State here. Give me them at home. No one's gonna be at the game at all. Portland State is I've had it here, 10.5 point favorite at home, which isn't as much as you would think. I will go back and say Montana is a 23.5 point favorite on the road. That's the last one I didn't find there. This is according to Sagarin, folks. But again, these will probably be very similar lines you'll see cooked up by the books come Saturday morning because they just kind of follow these things. I'm still going to go Portland State. Like we saw Portland State. Like Davis Alexander is, great value. Baker Mayfield. They've shown that they can win some games. They can cause some problems for some teams. So they'll cause problems for the team that's the worst in the conference.
Yeah, dude. Sorry. Finish.
No. I mean, I didn't rank them worse this last week. I'm not going to say who I ranked worse, but I was not fully sober when I did, and I was in a mood.
Yeah, I just Sounders are on, right? A couple games left. We're getting the playoff season. I hate LAFC. Like they just came in, thought they're these hot shots. Everybody loved them. I'm loving their suffering below the playoff line right now. The game just flipped onto my screen. There is nobody in Bank of California Stadium, and it makes me so happy because their fan base was the most annoying for 3 years. And blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I want to see you guys support this team for 13 years like Sounders fans have and consistently sell out. Nope. Anyways, side note, we didn't get enough soccer talk in. I had to sneak it in.
Well, Chris, we're avoiding what's coming this weekend. The most important game this weekend, Chris.
Idaho Vandals made the playoffs in women's soccer.
So it's the Tubs of the Club derby again. You kind of mentioned it at the beginning of the show.
Right.
But this could be the nail in my coffin / the beginning of the end for everyone else in the Premier League.
Could be.
We're not sure yet, Chris. I'm going through a time as a sports fan right now that I don't envy upon most people. As we know on this show, listeners,
it's actually a double derby week in Leagues Cup. West Ham plays Man City.
That's right. So I mean,
we got Dallas versus
Sean,
and you versus me in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, I believe, too. Right?
Yeah, it is down in London, down there on the north side of London. Unfortunately, my time as a sports fan right now, Chris, is not great. Like I'm a Manchester United fan, as everyone knows. We played Liverpool this last weekend, which is our biggest rival, and which is the biggest game in world football in club world football. Most watched.
Classico.
More people watch Liverpool, Manchester United worldwide. Fun fact.
That is
but
weird fact.
Yes. 700 million people watch that game. We got murdered like 5-0. I was hurt. I want our coach fired. Everyone wants our coach fired. Everyone knows that he's bad. There's much better coaches out there who could literally just take Manchester United's current team and make them probably kill Spurs by 3 at the weekend if we just hired Antonio Conte and just played smart football, but we don't know how to do that. So instead, I'm going through a time where one of my fan base wants a coach fired, Chris. So that's fun. Meanwhile, Idaho's lost 2 in a row. Don't know, Chris. So yeah, I'm having a hell of a time lately. I need to get through Thanksgiving potentially. See Ole fired. Chris, listen to this. We have to play you guys Saturday, okay? At Atlanta next weekend on the road, or next week on the road in the Champions League, and then City, and then the international break.
Yeah, you're like us last year, where we were like riding high, right? Like beginning of December, and then you looked all the way through Boxing Day.
Well,
you
it sucks.
All the top 5 clubs, and you're like, this isn't going to last. I didn't think we'd like lose all of them, which we did, but I definitely knew we weren't going to be top of the table.
It's still so early this year that we could sack Ole right now and hire Conte, and we could probably rescue this and finish in top 3. We could finish like top 3 or top 4. Finish top 4 for sure. But we're not that many points off in the grand scheme of things, right? Like it's doable. If we just hired Conte, just pulled the Band-Aid off instead. No, Chris, I was waiting for Ole getting sacked news. Instead, I'm waking up to Ole gets 3 more games. We're going to let Ole ride it out through next Saturday versus Man City. So that's fun.
All right, so let's pick them. Let's pick these real quick.
All right.
West Ham, Man City. I'm taking City. Actually,
penalties. I'm choosing penalties. Yes, This is City's comp though, but I'm choosing penalties. City's still going to win, but I'm going to say this goes to penalties.
Wow, if a U fan's picking City, it's probably actually going to happen. I'll go Hammers. I think Leagues Cup, it's one of those things where it just means more to like.
City's won this comp like
clubs.
5 out of the last 7 years. It means he gets to play Phil Foden the whole game. So let's think about that. Zach Steffen sighting, too.
Yeah, he'll probably play in this game, right? Or is he for sure starting?
No, he'll start.
All right, I'll take Tottenham 3-1.
I'll take Tottenham 4-0. Get him out. Get him out.
Now if they lose, I'm going to be clown egg on face.
I think we should.
Hammond.
Don't worry, Pogba suspended. He got a red. Pogba played 15 minutes, Chris, and got a red.
Pogba doesn't do anything. I'm not worried about Pogba. I'm worried about
he was the assist leader in the Premier League this year. He still is.
I'm worried about CR7.
No, because no one can give him the freaking ball. I almost said the word. I didn't. I stopped. I'm upset, Chris. This is a tough time. I have to look forward to the weekend, and WVU plays Iowa State. So, what do I have to do, Chris?
Matt Campbell's last game, maybe before he's at USC. Anyways, let's get this done so I can watch the Sounders beat LAFC.
I'm gonna go to bed.
That's our picks. There's no hammer down. Closing the bar. Make sure you donate to the I Donate 100 campaign. It ends this week, so please do it.
King Spud.
King Spud was recreated on display at the University of Idaho Library. That's so freaking cool.
Shout out Brian.
Shout out Jordan, not Jordan K. I think it's Jordan K. The Idaho Sports or Idaho State Journal, the one that sounded like Pokemon. Yeah. He wrote that whole piece on it. Wax Party Pants somewhere out there, aka Martin, really plugging it a lot. So
King Spuds, are they gonna like start doing the thing where they make it a trophy game though?
I don't think so. Because
why not?
ICCU paid a bunch of money, so there's already a trophy. It's a stupid ICCU corporate is a mother lover.
They can have 2 trophies.
Seriously, have like the real trophy, and then or move the ICCU for everything else and keep King Spud. Make it the ICCU King Spud trophy. I don't care, but yeah,
the ICCU Battle of Domes game with the trophy being for King Spud.
You know what we should do? Do it like they do in the MLS or Cascadia, right? For the MLS, where the fans own the Cascadia Cup trophy. Maybe we ask the library if we can buy it when they're done with it, or we pay for our own recreation, actually metal and not wood. And we just pass it on.
They made it out of wood?
That's what I heard, yeah. I haven't gotten a read up on it yet, but I believe so. And we exchange it between our fan bases, so the fans control it. And then you just cut the middleman out.
Who are their fans?
Ross Cunningham and Dakota Daly. He's trying to start
Chris Boatman. My cousin's a diehard Bengals fan, so
there we go. We got some fans we could trade it with, and obviously it would go to the athletic department, but they're just not in charge.
From Martin, it's 3D printed, so it's a brand new technology 3D printed King Spud trophy
out of wood, which probably words not working right now. Lined up with the news that we received that $4 million to do wood using wood fiber to do 3D printing. Do you see that?
Yeah. So I mean that makes sense.
What that was.
Hey, but shout out to Tubbs people, Tubbs listeners, Idaho fans, like all the noise made about King Spud over the years. People, you guys asking questions at media days. Brian going on a whole article on the Idaho State Journal down there in Pokey. Patrick doesn't know what King Spud is. It's simple Google, my friend. Shout out for making this thing, just making enough noise constantly and always asking, where's King Spud? Where's King Spud? Because now we have it again. So like the best trophy in the world exists. We need to start playing it. Chris, we have 2 trophy games. Did you know that? And one of them isn't a protected rivalry.
Yeah. That's great news. Our poll just ended. 301 votes. 52.5% of Idaho Vandal fans consider Montana Idaho's biggest rival in the FCS. 21.3% of fans consider. Who do you think got 21.3% of the vote?
I'm looking at it right now. It's Eastern.
Idaho State, 1% behind it, 20.3%. and then 6% are others. I think the 6% are jokes. I put it in there knowing somebody would have some smart aleck comments. We had some people that had really smart aleck comments. I made the joke like McNeese or you and I because we had like playoff history with them. But I honestly, I didn't vote for them. So I'm really curious if you're one of the 6% and you actually met a serious team, comment on it. Or if you're one of the clowns who did a troll on a poll we were trying to, make a point to the conference about. Thanks, I guess, for that. But
I would rather our 2 trophy games just be our projected rivals. Leave Eastern in the dust because obviously teams that are 70 miles apart can't bring enough fans to each other's home stadiums where it makes a difference. There's King Spud, Patrick. There's King Spud. Look at him in all its glory. That's the recreated version of the Idaho Library. Beautiful. I think that's where we get sent to Chris. I don't think we have anything else to really.
Nope.
There's nowhere else to go.
Nope. Just removing Boatman. That's it. It's time for Colby Cuff to play us out with the Moscow Drinking Team song. We'll see you guys after the NAU game. Go Vandals.
Go Vandals.
So raise your glass and have a drink with me. Here's to the Vandals in the crowd. All just out there living the dream. Right up one and only Moscow Drinking.